Well, good evening, dear students. Today I'll be going to, just talk about the different kinds of T cells that are out there in the bloodstream, the human bloodstream. We all know that T cells are, a part of the lymphocyte group and not granulocytes, because they're two major bifurcations in the types of white blood cells available in the bloodstream or being produced by different organs in the body. So now, today we'll be having a chat about T cells that are a kind of lymphocyte different to B lymphocytes. And this is a very useful high definition poster I used for my own thesis, and I found it ever so useful. So I'll be making sure to go through and briefly review all kinds of T cells, and how and where they are. So I'd just like to basically talk about the fact that T cells, they have very important roles in immune responses and functions, and they act by directly secreting soluble mediators, or through cell-to-cell contact or receptor contact, or independent mechanisms, receptor to cell mechanisms, and NPTs, and many other intracellular, extracellular arrangements. So many T subsets have been characterized according to their functionality, the kinds of receptors they carry on the cell surface, how they react or mediate the immune response. And you've got effector T cells, that were considered to be the final form of differentiation. But more and more research in experimental clinical immunology is showing that their abilities may be far from plastic, and are quite flexible, and still open to cell specialization or differentiation. So T cells, they can have mixed phenotypes, meaning that different types of T cells are called different phenotypes, or they can be one kind of phenotype, or they can be quite a few within one kind of T cell that's floating around in the bloodstream, and they can interconvert from one subset to the other, and they deploy instructive signaling. They can do long-term fixation. They can help the cytokine memory, and their plasticity is quite important for the adaptive immune response. Not the innate. Innate is complex. Innate reaction is completely different. It's the other complement system, and I'm not going to go there. But it's very. The T cells are, if I may say so, they're quite the backbone of the adaptive immune response, because they're quite advanced in their methodology and action reaction mechanisms. So and they act in many different microenvironments, and they might be particularly relevant for host defense against pathogens that colonize different kinds of tissues. So distinct T cell subsets or differentiation or molecules produced by different so distinct T cell subsets, they can be identified based on their cell surface markers, how they react, how they interact, and the effector responses, the molecules that carry on the cell surface, transcriptional regulators, effector molecules that they release, and how they behave whilst in the bloodstream against immune responses, and at times when they aren't required for an immune response, and how clonogenic they are, and how diverse they are in action reaction mechanisms. So the first one I like to talk about without further ado is cytotoxic T cell. It's the most common one, cytotoxic CD8 carrier. This is the most heard of. And then you've got the exhausted T cell, which is obviously run out after quite a lot of interaction and is ready to be renewed and replenished. And then you've got anergic. Anergic means afunctional for a while or deactivated due to some pathogenicity, virulence, or some malfunction in the immune regulatory modulation. And then you've got regulatory T cells, and then you've got NKT cells. You've got alpha version of CD8 T cells,